Okay, so we're going to do a little bit on physical behaviours. So this is the blue part of the pie chart, so the activity point. And we're going to talk through about the recommendations and go through some of the factors. So what do you think are the benefits of physical activity?
Benefit would be you would be more active.
Mm-hmm.
Like you will feel lively. You can do lots of things around. You are not tired at all. So yeah.
Feeling a bit more energized, would you say,
That's right.
Betsy?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Anyone
burning
else?
calories.
Emma, burning calories?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Kanak?
Yeah, it makes you feel better, in a better mood.
So just makes you feel better, in a better mood. Yeah, thank you for that.
Better sleep as well.
Yeah, better sleep. Yeah, actually, you've covered quite a lot of these from the list. Michelle, were you about to say anything?
No.
No. So some additional things to what you said. It can help lower blood glucose levels, and it can help with that insulin resistance, the rusty locks. So it can help with that. It can help improve heart health and lower cholesterol and blood pressure. Can help maintain a healthy weight. So I think, Emma, you were saying about burning calories. Yeah, that's what it can do. It can strengthen muscles and joints, so it can help you move more easily. It can help you live longer and slows down aging. Can help lower risks of other long-term health problems and some common cancers. And if done in a group, it can help you to connect with other people. So there are, some of the benefits there of physical activity. What have you heard about how much physical activity we should be doing and what types?
Physical activity, I would say walking.
Yeah. Thanks, Betsy.
Even doing a bit of a gardening if you got a garden.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you don't stand, sitting exercise can be done as well. The movement, the more you move your body, the active you will get.
So the more benefit you'll get for the more you move your body.
That's right.
Yeah. Thank you, Betsy. So has anyone heard of anything in terms of minutes a week that the recommendations are?
Isn't it half an hour every day?
Half an hour every day? Is that Emma?
Yeah. Start with, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else?
I don't know how much that would be a week.
I think not sitting for long.
So breaking up sitting time, Banu?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the basically what they're saying is anything is better than nothing. So that's the first thing to say. But the recommendations are 150 minutes a week of moderate physical activity or 75 minutes of vigorous activity a week. And that can be broken down into smaller blocks of activity. So it doesn't all have to be in one go. It can be spread in little blocks over the week. They also recommend doing 2 to 3 times a week of strengthening activities. And increase stepping, so walking as well. So that all of those things in conjunction together can help improve health. Is it the same recommendation for people living with type 2 diabetes? Is that going to be different to those who don't have type 2 diabetes?
I think it depends on individual how they feel, because some of them are active with diabetes type 2 and some are not. So it all depends on individual.
Depends on the individual. Thanks, Betsy. Kanak, were you about to say something?
Yes. In some cases, some diabetics might have mobility issues.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And in my case, I've got a slight heart condition where I can walk, but I can't walk at a fast pace. So yeah,
it's just limited.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually that can be the case with some people without type 2 diabetes as well, in terms of mobility could possibly be an issue. Were you about to say something, Emma?
Yeah, I did a walk 2 weeks ago with the walking group.
Right.
To be honest, well, I overdid it. I should have stopped sooner. And then I was just inactive for a whole week. And it was hard, that was.
Right. So actually, that walking group, actually, you felt actually that was quite, you felt the impact of that. It felt it was too intense for you.
Yeah,
and I think that's a good example, actually, how people are going to find things different to others, aren't they, in terms of what they feel is suitable for them.
But it was there was a guy that kept saying, "Oh, you'll never do it, you'll never do it," and it really upset me, that did. And I thought, I've got to prove this guy wrong, and I think I just pushed myself to do it. But you know, it is what it is. I've learnt my lesson, and not to listen to people like that.
Yeah, thanks, Emma, and thanks for sharing that, because that, I think it just sort of demonstrates the pressure that can come sometimes, doesn't it, with, you know, that comparison with other people. Actually, sorry,
also one more thing, because whenever you are doing something first time, for example, walking or exercise, you need to slow down, you know. Don't do it for a whole hour, cut down, and then second day slightly increase, and that's how you do for the whole week. And then you will be up to it. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Betsy, and hold that thought actually with that, because that would be really helpful in just a minute. The recommendations are the same for those without type 2 diabetes and those with. It's just that actually there's added benefits. If you do have type 2 diabetes, it can help manage blood glucose levels. So the recommendation is not to go more than 2 days in a row without being active in some description. But being active 2 to 3 hours after eating can be particularly helpful. That's what it's showing. So recently it's been found that it's beneficial to think about 24 hours and the physical activity that can happen over that 24 hours. So if you go to page 41, you'll see the cycle of what I'm talking about here. So there's lots of messages about physical activity and what we do in a day. And there's all kinds of movement, from resting to being highly active. And these behaviours include sleeping, sitting or being still, or otherwise known as being sedentary, light movement through to more moderate and vigorous physical activity. So all of these can affect your health, and some can provide opportunities to improve blood glucose levels. So we're now going to look at some activities that you may do and consider how they can contribute to your 24-hour physical behaviours. So I'm going to show you a slide, and I want you just to have a discussion amongst yourselves of what you think each one is in terms of the amount of effort that the activity requires. So let me just bring up this slide. Bear with, move this down. And I think it's doing the thing where it's not sharing again, so let me do that again. Here we are. So if you can see that here we've got someone sleeping, and then we've got people playing squash there. So someone sleeping, are we in agreement that actually we think that perhaps doesn't require an awful lot of effort? Yes. Whereas if you're playing squash, you're going to be perhaps putting in it would require a lot of effort. So I'm going to turn my microphone and camera off just for a minute. And if you can see these images here, just have a very brief discussion about what images sort of jump out to you, and would you say that they require not a lot of effort with that, or if it requires a lot of effort. And I'll come back to you in a moment.
Front door opened.
So if there's anyone who wants to kick off the discussion in terms of any of the images that you see, if you think they require a lot of effort or if they don't.
I think swimming and then playing squash, that needs a lot of effort. Even the weightlifting, the exercise.
The cycling and walking up the stairs, that takes effort as well.
Yeah.
Carrying the shopping as well up the stairs, that would take a lot of effort. I think, is she cleaning windows maybe? That will take effort.
Yeah. Down, is it watching TV or just sitting there? That doesn't need more effort in there.
No, watching TV or sitting on the bus.
Or sitting on the table, like the lady sitting on the chair.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I missed it.
We were just saying what we think is using a lot of effort or not so much effort.
So I'll just quickly show you the slide, Betsy, that what we were referring to. So we were just the group were just discussing what they think requires a lot of effort and some that requires not a lot of effort. So there were some discussions going on there. So was there any is there any activities that anybody does that was not in the picture that anyone does in terms of a activity?
I saw one, but it just disappeared quite fast. So
No, that's okay. Is there anyone that does any activities themselves that were not included in those pictures?
I
It's
go
just
out dancing.
Dancing?
Yeah, I go to social nights and I do lots of dancing.
Thank you, Hemma. And where would you say that requires a lot of effort?
Yeah, I went
Mhm.
casino yesterday and I was dancing for at least 3 or 4 hours. Loved
Wow.
it.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. So on that page 41 that we were saying about the 24 hours, so the recommendations are for so it's split up into 5 sections. So sitting, stepping, sweating, strengthening, and sleeping. And if you notice, they all start with S. There is something called the 5 S's, and this is what these represent. So the recommendation is for over the 24-hour period. For sitting, try not to sit for too long. Aim to get up and move around every 30 minutes if you can. So Banu, I think you mentioned that earlier about breaking up sit-in time. Stepping, aim to add on an extra 500 steps a day to what you're doing at the moment and pick up the pace if you can. So like some of you were saying earlier about building up, I think back to you were saying about, building up over amount of time. Sweating, aim for 150 minutes of moderate activity each week, or 75 minutes of vigorous activity, or a combination of both. Strengthening, aim for 2 sessions of strengthening exercises each week. And does strengthening activities need to necessarily just be going down to the gym or anything like that, do we think? No, and actually we've got in a moment we'll show some examples of that. So for instance, like the shopping, carrying the shopping in the previous slide, that is an example of a strengthening activity. And sleeping, aim for regular and good quality sleep, ideally 6 to 8 hours each night. So what are your thoughts about these recommendations?
I think it's quite easy to follow.
Easy to follow?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Hemma. Kanak, were you about to say something?
I've just stood up to stretch my legs.
Oh, that's okay. I just saw you glowing up, so I thought you were saying something. Which of these physical behaviours did you do yesterday? Anyone?
Sweating, sleeping, and strengthening.
Thank you, Hemma. Anyone else?
Yeah, sleeping, sitting, stepping, strengthening, actually everything.
Everything? Thank you, Banu.
Where does stretching come in, Laura?
Hold that thought, because actually we've got something, it does come into some of these in just a moment. What could you have done differently yesterday looking at that list? So the sitting, stepping, sweating, strengthening, sleeping.
The sleeping, I think, probably would have got a bit more hours in last night.
Yeah. Thank you, Hemma.
It's more sitting and sleeping.
Well, sitting for me yesterday, I went to watch a film, so I was sitting nearly just under 3 hours. There was a break in between for 10 minutes only.
Okay.
I was sitting 3 hours, yes.
So it's a long time sat down. Thank you for sharing that. And how would making a change to one physical behaviour affect the others?
They're all interlinked.
All interlinked? Yeah, thank you, Michelle. So, for example, breaking up sitting time by standing and walking around would help increase stepping, or doing some arm exercises would help with strength, or walking quicker would help meet sweating recommendations. So, although you might be just focusing on one aspect, they can also, as Michelle said, they can be interlinked. So I'm just going to show you some slides very briefly, showing you some examples of these different areas. Just to give a bit of an idea. So we'll move on from this. So sitting then, what could you do to avoid sitting still for too long?
Move your body, move your hands.
Move your body. Yeah. Perhaps set a timer to sort of to remind yourself.
Take a break if you're driving.
Take a break if you're driving. Thank you, Hema. Sometimes fitness trackers and smartphones can help to remind you to stand and move up every 30 minutes. Some of you might have found by even doing this that you're being told off by devices, perhaps. Some people are saying about using TV advert breaks as a cue to get up. So just having that visual reminder of when to get up and start moving. Doing simple seated stretches or strength exercises if mobility perhaps is more difficult. So even small movements can help break up sitting time. Standing or walking while talking on the phone. And for some people in offices, they have the luxury of perhaps having a raised, like a standing desk, so they can move the desk up and down. So yeah, sitting is one aspect. Okay, so stepping then. So we said 500 extra steps is recommended. So how could you add in 500 extra steps to what you do already?
Go up and down the stairs at home.
Go downstairs, did you say, Hema?
Go up and down, yeah.
Oh, up and down the stairs. So actually, yes. Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
I would say more walking. Don't use your transport.
Okay, so more active walking, sort of perhaps thinking of being able to walk more than the transport side of things. Yeah. So some people are saying about setting a small daily goal or trying a new walking route if it's perhaps getting a bit tedious, the walking route that some people are doing. Walking indoors and outdoors both count. So for some people, it might be that they're walking on a treadmill or something, or just walking around the house. And that counts as much as walking around outside in terms of the steps. Again, walking around the house during TV advert breaks. Like Bapti just said, walking instead of driving. So it might be the fact of parking further away and then walking the last bit, perhaps. Or getting off the bus, perhaps one stop early and walking the rest of the way. Sorry, I'm flying through these a bit, guys. It's just to keep for time reasons. And how can stepping be tracked?
Using the phone.
Phones, yeah.
Watches.
Yeah, absolutely. And on page 45, actually, there's a whole section on how can I track my steps. So that might be of interest to yourselves. And if you do track your steps...
Sorry. If you don't have a smartphone or anything like that to count your steps, just one of the music or a song, just time that, and then you can put the headphones and go for a walk until it finishes. So you can do that much. Yeah, that helps as well. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that top tip, Bapti. That's helpful for the group. If you do track your steps, there's also pedometers as well. If you know you're not wanting the technical side of things so much. You can track your steps on My Health Map as well, just so you're aware of that. And in terms of how many steps people should be doing each day, the recent research suggests that it's 6,000 to 8,000 steps a day for older adults, so those over 60, and 8,000 to 10,000 steps for younger adults under 60. So just to make you aware of that. So sweating then. So how would walking quicker help with achieving 150 minutes of moderate activity over a week?
I think rather than strolling, walking faster.
Yes. So that would increase sort of how you're feeling in terms of how much effort. We were talking about effort earlier. Do you feel like that would be putting more effort in, Banu? Yeah. What if you can't do any moderate or vigorous activity?
Do chair activity.
Michelle, chair activity? Yeah? Somebody else going to say something then as well? So basically the advice is that doing some activity is better than nothing. So even when you're not meeting the physical activity recommendations, choosing activities that work for you and your ability level. And as you said, Michelle, for some people it might be that it's like chair-based activities might be better. So yeah, there is things like swimming as well that perhaps some people find that because that helps take the whole body weight, that can be helpful for some people as well. And you mentioned, Banu, earlier about stretching. Where does that come in? That could possibly come under this section, depending if you would perhaps using like your body weight for perhaps stretching that way. It could even be under strengthening as well. So stretching, although it doesn't have its own section, it can absolutely be incorporated into some of these things as well. So strengthening then, how could you start doing some strengthening activities? I mentioned one suggestion earlier, about carrying heavy shopping. Anyone else think of any other strengthening activities?
I think
by warming up.
Warming up?
Using dumbbells and, sort of tennis.
Yeah. Yes, actual like hand weights and things.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Banu. So it can even be things like household items. So if you don't have an actual dumbbell, although that would work brilliantly, but using things that are around the house, so like bottles or milk cartons could be used as weights as well, tins. So gym equipment, things like online videos, local classes, and walking up and down stairs, like we mentioned earlier. And as we can see, again, someone doing chair-based activity can still have that strengthening activity and sat down. But things like cleaning, if we can see, there's people cleaning windows, just generally cleaning around the house, carrying grandchildren or children, body weight activities, that all count as strengthening. And sleeping. Sorry, was someone about to say something?
What about ironing?
Ironing?
Yeah.
Did you say ironing, Banu?
Yeah.
So ironing, what does anyone think about ironing? What are you doing if you're ironing?
Just a bit of exercise, like you are moving your hands.
And you're moving your steps, but not vigorous.
Oh, but you're also standing a lot of the time, aren't you, if you're ironing? So yeah, that absolutely can count as, part of your daily activity, even doing things like ironing, and you're moving your arms as well. So sleeping then, how could you help yourself get good quality sleep for 6 to 8 hours a night?
Have a routine, go to bed at a similar time.
Yeah, thanks, Michelle. Having a routine, going to bed at a similar time. Yep.
Mobile
sort
phone.
of getting that body's natural body clock. And Banu?
Switching off the mobile phone.
Switching off the mobile phone, yes. Yeah, that can that's sort of a healthy habit, actually, isn't it? They recommend turning it off at least 30 minutes before going to bed. Activity, again, being active during the day can help with sleep, but things like having a dark room can also help, and having the temperature comfortable, having a quiet surrounding, that can all help. And on your, again, your health map, you can record your average sleep time if you so wish. That can be helpful if you wanted to sort of monitor your sleep. Just to point out that some people can have problems with their sleep. So some people have something called obstructive sleep apnea, and that can be more common with those with type 2 diabetes. How would somebody know if they had a problem like sleep apnea?
You're tired during the daytime.
Tired during the daytime, thank you, Kanak. Yeah.
Not sleeping too well at night time.
Yeah, absolutely. You may fall asleep perhaps without meaning to, and a partner may like point out that perhaps you're snoring or gasping for breath during your sleep. But if anyone is ever concerned about this, then speak to your GP, and they can help with that. Before we finish off this section, if you can just turn to page 52, just got a very quick activity for you. And this is terms of what change am I considering making to my physical behaviours. So it may be that you want to consider making a change to sleep, time spent sitting, physical activities that make you sweat, the amount of steps that you take, and strengthening activities. And I'm just going to give you literally a couple of minutes to have that sort of discussion with each other. If you want to sort of share with anyone perhaps what a consideration you're making in terms of physical behaviours, and I'll come back to you in just a moment. Is there anyone who has a consideration that they're sort of wanting to focus on in terms of physical behaviours?
I'd like to do some more.
Michelle, come to you first.
Michelle, carry on.
No, I'd like to do more strengthening activities and less sitting at work.
Less sitting at work and more strengthening activities. Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Michelle. And back to
my sleep.
Your sleep.
I need to work out my sleep. Sometimes what happens, I can't sleep, I have to play one game, Candy Crush. If I don't play, then I can, until 2 o'clock in the morning, I need to play that game. So I do play, and then I go to sleep. But one trouble is that I have to wake up twice during the night to pass my water. That's the only problem I've got.
So that's disruptive in itself.
That's it, yeah. So I can't have continue 7 or 6 to 8 hours sleep. I can't.
Yeah,
so that's slightly problem with me.
Yeah, thank you, Betsy, for sharing that. So yeah, you may find at some point you find it helpful to make some notes regarding that on page 52. But before we draw this to an end then, so thinking about the benefits of a 24-hour physical behaviours and the potential effect on your health, how do you feel about them now?
I think changing the habits, like I mentioned, I mean, in the evening, sort of 8, 9 o'clock, if I'm watching TV, I just don't stand up or, I'll be sitting down for 2, 3 hours. So I've been trying to sort of put my phone every 30 minutes and getting up. But then again, I'm just getting up, going to the kitchen, making a drink or something, and then coming back. But that's not enough, I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's given you a start to think about, Banu.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for sharing that.